Hola YouTube, buenos dias. For this video, we're going to be looking at some more subjunctive versus indicative. And to be more specific in this one, we'll look at using the subjunctive with adjective clauses. I'll tell you what that means in just a second. It's not really that big of a deal, just as long as you can identify when you're supposed to use the subjunctive or not. So some verbs that you might see when using the subjunctive in the adjective clauses are listed here for you. Before I keep going, if you want the document you see on your screen, it's available to you in the description of the video via a link, and you're welcome to open that up and print it off if you want to have it with you. So what you're going to see here are some examples and then an activity to practice, as well as the answers to those activities. And I'll go through everything and explain as I go. So some verbs you might see are querer, which means to want, necesitar, which is to need, haber, which is it's an auxiliary verb, and in this sense, you're only going to be seeing it in the form of I, which means there is, there are, or if I say no I, then it's there is not, or there are not. Conocer, which is to be familiar with, buscar, which is to look for, and tener, which is to have. So what I'm going to do for you is give you kind of a side-by-side comparison where you have one sentence over here that's in the subjunctive, and then another sentence over here, which is almost exactly the same, but it's in the indicative. And I'll explain as I go why it is each way. So the first one here that's in the subjunctive says, Quiero hablar con una persona que estudie japonés. So that means I want to speak with a person that studies Japanese. Now the reason that estudiar is in the subjunctive is because I don't know if that person exists or if that person is around me, so I have to put estudiar into the subjunctive. Now earlier, before I keep going, I said that this is the subjunctive with adjective clauses. So in this sentence, the adjective clause is this end of the sentence here, the estudie japonés, because that is functioning as an adjective because it describes this person. So on this next sentence, you'll see that this is the adjective clause that's describing this book. You'll see that more in a minute. Now let's go back over here to the indicative sentence. So this one says, I want to speak, or quiero hablar con el estudiante que estudia japonés. I want to speak with the student that studies Japanese. So you notice one big difference between this sentence and this one, besides the subjunctive indicative obvious, is this word una versus this word el. So on this one, I want to speak to the student that studies Japanese. I know that this person exists and I want to talk to him. So that's why estudiar is in the indicative. The next one down is a question. ¿Necesitas un libro que tenga información sobre la cultura maya? So it says, do you need a book that has information about the Mayan culture? So we don't know, or you don't know, if this book exists. So that's why tener is in the subjunctive. So this sentence is kind of similar to the first one in that the big change is with this un into el. So this question now is, do you need the book that has information about the Mayan culture? So this book now in my mind, it does exist. I just need to go get it off the bookshelf or whatever. So I'm going to use tiene, which is the indicative. Let's keep going. It's a question again. Hay un profesor aquí que hable francés? So the question is there a teacher here that speaks French? I don't know if that person exists. So that's why I'm putting this into the subjunctive. And then over here is a statement, and it's almost exactly the same. You notice this time I did not change the L to an in, so that's not always a definitive reason to use the subjunctive versus the indicative. So you just have to kind of look at what the sentence is saying. It's a statement saying, there is a teacher here that speaks French. So I know that this person is here. I know he exists, so it's going to be in the indicative. Next sentence down. ¿Conoces a una persona que vaya de vacaciones cada año? Do you know a person that goes on vacation every year? So does this person exist? I don't know. So that's why it's in the subjunctive. Next the question over here is, do you know the person? Notice instead of una, I used la. So do you know the person that goes on vacation each year? So I know this person. I just want to know if you know this person. So this person in my mind, he or she does exist. And that's why I'm using the indicative. The next example is buscamos un hotel que tenga un gimnasio. We're looking for a hotel that has a gym. So in our minds, we don't know if this hotel exists. So that's why tener is in the subjunctive. And to this sentence to the right, it says we're looking for the hotel that has a gym. So maybe that's a Hilton hotel, and we know it exists. We just can't find it. And we know it has a gym. So it's in the indicative. And the last sentence is a question. First, ¿tiene zapatos que no apesten? The infinitive of that verb is apestar. It's an AR verb, and it means to stink. So do you have shoes that don't stink? So I don't know if you have these shoes or not. That's why it's in the subjunctive. And then the sentence to the right it's exactly the same, but now it's a statement, and it says you have shoes that don't stink. So I know that you have shoes that don't stink. That's why I'm going to use the indicative. So I've got here for you are 8 sentences, and it's an activity to practice. If you want to, I would suggest that maybe you pause the video and then decide subjunctive or indicative, and then hit play, and then I'll give you the answers in about 5 seconds. So again, pause the video, and then I'm going to scroll down really quick here. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. If you haven't already paused it and done the activity, do so now. All right. So I'll explain each one why it is. You'll notice to the right over here, I've put an S for subjunctive or an I for an indicative. Okay. So the first one says they're looking for someone that can type, basically. So they don't know if they can find that person or if that person here exists. So I'm using the subjunctive for that, pueda. Number 2 is a question. Is there a school that offers online classes? So I don't know if that school exists or not. So I'm going to put that into the subjunctive. The O form of ofrecer, by the way, is ofrezco with a ZCO, and that's why I put the ZC in the subjunctive. Number 3 is a statement. You have a motorcycle that is powerful. So I know you have it and it exists. So there isn't any doubt in my mind. So I'm just going to use the indicative S. Number 4, there is a restaurant in this plaza that serves food quickly. So I know, again, it's like number 3. I know it exists, so I'm going to use the indicative. Number 5, do you know the teacher that has videos online? So I know this person exists. I just want to know if you know the person. But because this person exists, I'm going to use the indicative, tiene. Number 6, do they have a house that's blue? I don't know if they have a house that's blue or if their house is a different color. So there's a lot of doubt going on here. So I'll use the subjunctive sea. Number 7, do you want to talk to the mechanic that works on trucks? So I'm going to use the indicative because I know this mechanic exists and then he works on trucks. If I had changed this word right here to un, then I would use the subjunctive because we don't know if that person exists or not. And then number 8, we need a butcher store that can help us. We don't know if that butcher store exists, so that's why I'm going to put it into the subjunctive. So that's kind of it. If you guys have any questions about anything I've said in this video, let me know. Again, the document's available to you in the description of the video. If you need anything else, again, drop a comment or a question. Otherwise, see you in the next video. Hasta luego.